Hey, what's up guys? Welcome to another POV test drive. As you can see here today, we have my buddy Zeke, and this is his, is it 1993? 94? 95, okay, Toyota Supra. So do you want to say a few things about the car first?
Yeah, it's 95 Toyota Supra. It's NA unfortunately, but 5-speed manual. I have this car probably 2 years now. It was a trade-in when I worked at the dealer, so kind of lucked out. I've kept it mostly stock. It's got a Fidanza lightweight flywheel, just kept up with all the maintenance items on it. Yeah, it's been a great car so far.
So this isn't your daily driver, right?
No, this isn't my daily. I have a Hachiroku 886 that's doubles as my daily and my track car.
So your garage is full of classic Toyota JDM goodness, basically.
Oh yeah.
That's awesome. So this is a car I have been wanting to test drive for a very, very long time. I know it's not the twin turbo, but you know it's still a Supra regardless. If some other day I get a twin turbo version, I'd love to check that out too. But for now, this is about as good as it gets for me, because you know, NSX obviously was my childhood dream car, but Supra was right up there with it. So let's see how it does. All right, so initial impressions. It's a huge car. Even coming from my NSX, this car feels super wide. It feels long. The hood feels so much longer than my NSX is. And the visibility, overall it's good, but because of the fact that this seat is not adjustable height-wise, and I'm not that tall, so I can barely see over this hood up in front. Driver controls, everything is really light and easy to use. This has hydraulic power steering, right?
Yeah, that's correct.
So it's super light, but it still has good feel, and there's zero dead spot. Like, you twitch the wheel a little bit and the car turns, and I love that. The shifter feels very nice and notchy, actually, with a very short throw. For a stock shifter, it's got a very, very nice short throw. Pedals, perfectly placed for heel and toe, very close together. Typical Toyota, pretty much. Also very, very quiet. I'm just in 4th gear, cruising around at 2,000 RPMs. I can't even hear the engine or the exhaust. So, Zeke, have you always just been a Toyota fanboy, or you always just liked the Supras and the 86s?
Well, I think my Toyota love started with my dad. He actually has a Toyota Sienna. So
okay.
Yeah, and I remember he bought that thing brand new back in '98, and I just remember my dad talking about Toyota reliability.
Yeah.
And the heritage Toyota has. But how I got into Toyota performance cars was actually my friend Mark Avion, when I was going to Evergreen College for my automotive. He had he had two first generation Celicas.
Oh wow.
And I remember one day during break, he was looking at the first gen Celica for him, and I was like, man, what car is that?
Yeah.
And he was like, it's a Celica, man. And I was like, they made Toyotas back then?
Yeah.
And yeah, that's pretty much how it all got started, my love for Toyota.
Cool. So what was your first Toyota?
My first Toyota, 76 Celica.
76 Celica, okay.
Yeah, 1976 Celica.
Was that the hatchback or the fastback?
The three-door fastback.
Three-door fastback, okay.
76, 77, that was the fastback. Most people choose the 75 and older because we don't have the smog in here.
Yeah.
I was if you can't tell by my cars, I'm dead set on the fastback, the liftback style.
Yeah, okay. And those are rear-wheel drive as well, right?
Yeah, rear drive.
Yeah. I mean, Celicas are great and all, but I mean, when it comes to Toyotas, the Supra is the holy grail, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Some people would say 8.6 if they're more into lightweight cars, but as far as overall performance goes, Supra is the holy grail. It was right up there with the NSX, the GTR, the Nissan, maybe 300ZX as well.
FDs.
Yeah, FD RX-7. Yeah, that's the other one I was missing. These seats are actually pretty comfortable as well. They they're a little stiff. They're not as soft as like the 80s Toyotas or other 80s cars, but the contour on the back is really nicely curved, so it fits my body like almost perfectly. If I was wider than I am, then I don't think I would fit in these all that well. But that's like you said earlier, it's one thing that people miss about 80s cars is like the seats were so soft, so comfortable, and they had like adjustable side bolsters and like air pumps and everything. In the 90s, it looks like they pretty much did away with all that and just moved to more fixed seats that just kind of recline or go forward. So this car has the 2JZ, is it GE?
Yeah, that's
okay.
Yeah, that's right.
So that's a 3-liter naturally aspirated inline 6 dual overhead cam, right?
Yeah, twin cam.
Twin cam, okay. And it's making what, 220 horsepower, 210 foot-pounds, somewhere around there?
Maybe, because I think the newer generation one came with VVTi, so this is...
Okay.
Yeah. The VVTi probably up the horsepower. But,
just a little bit.
Yeah.
So this is roughly, what, a 3,200 pound car?
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Okay, 3,200 pounds, 220 horsepower, so not the best power to weight. It certainly shouldn't feel slow, but also being a relatively heavy car, there's a lot of mass to push around, and then the fact that this one's on stock suspension, so I'm expecting quite a bit of body roll as well, so we'll see how it does. And you've got stock brakes on here too, right?
Yeah, stock brakes.
And what tires are you running?
BF Goodrich. I'm not 100%
okay.
sure.
Are they just summer tires or all seasons?
Yeah, they should be summer tires.
Okay. Yeah, so obviously this car isn't exactly set up for like even the canyons or much less the track, but I mean, I don't even care about any of that right now. I just want to drive the car through the twisties and see how it does. So let's push it a little bit harder. You have ABS?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, good. Traction control?
Yeah, traction control too.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. Which is weird for a 95 car, right?
Yeah, it is weird.
Yeah.
That's 5,000 RPMs. So there's not a whole lot of grunt, but it is very, very linear throughout the rev band, at least up to 5,000 RPMs. Let's see if I can find a straightaway so I can push it all the way to around 7. It makes a really cool noise at like 5,000 RPMs. Almost like a jet engine or something is starting to like spool up. At low revs, you can hardly even hear it. This is a totally new road for me, so I'm not 100% confident with all the blind corners and things, so I'm going to take it a little easy today. This isn't a car that likes to be pushed to 9/10 or 10/10 anyway. This is definitely more of a grand touring sports car, and so it likes to be driven around 6/10, 7/10. That's where it's the most happy. So in terms of suspension, like I said before, there is a lot of body roll. That's part of what makes it such a comfortable car to live with on a daily basis. And it does a decent job of soaking up the bumps, especially for a 20-year-old car. Does this NA Supra have the same brakes as the twin turbo, or are the twin turbo's brakes bigger?
Yeah, I think the twin turbo has 4 pots and 2 pots in the rear.
Oh wow, okay.
Yeah, so much bigger.
Are these single piston?
Yeah, single piston.
Okay.
Yeah, single piston econo brakes.
Hey, for single piston brakes, they don't feel all that bad. I haven't stepped on them more than like halfway, but they have good initial bite to it, and a very nice progressive feel to it as well. The steering is very, very light. I wish it had a little bit more feedback, to be honest. All right, let's see how it does on the straights. Yeah, it still pulls as hard as a 220 horsepower engine will pull. I mean, I have no doubts that it makes that much power. But what I really like about the engine is the way it delivers power is so smooth and so linear. And of course, that's one of the inherent benefits of having an inline six, is that they're more inherently balanced, less vibration, having smooth power delivery. I mean, BMW inline sixes are pretty much renowned for that. And this Supra engine feels just as smooth as those. You don't really get a shove of torque anywhere in the revs when you put your foot down, but what you do get is very predictable, easy to modulate power. So given that this is a GT car, I would say my only one complaint, which is a minor one, is that the steering lacks a little bit of feel. For a hydraulic steering system, I expected it to have a bit more feedback and for it to load up better in the corners, but even in the corners it feels really, really light. So, I mean, Toyota probably designed it that way to be comfortable and easy to drive on a daily basis, since ultimately that's what this car's purpose is. But for more spirited driving in the canyons, it is a little bit lacking for me. But other than that, the handling dynamics of the car are very, very progressive. Just, you know, not pushing it to the limit, but just going around 70%. Very forgiving to drive. So do you have any plans for modifying this car in the future, or do you want to just keep it as kind of like a backup daily?
That one I'm not sure about yet. I feel like I'd like to have this as a track car, but I feel like I'm not good enough. I haven't progressed well enough as a driver to have this as my track car yet. You know?
Okay, so that's kind of what the 8.6 is doing for you right now.
Yeah, definitely.
That makes sense. Yeah, I definitely know where you're coming from, because I think having a small, lightweight, lower-powered car as your first car to learn how to drive on the track with is probably the best way to become a better driver, right?
Yeah, I think you have a similar philosophy as me, where it's I'd rather become a better driver rather than have a better chassis or
exactly.
You know.
Does this have a LSD?
No, open diff.
Open diff,
yeah,
okay.
Open diff it is. Yeah. I've been really doing the research on a TT swap, right? And I guess it's really involved, because the diff and the axles are completely different in the back.
Oh.
Yeah. Drive shaft, of course, the tranny. There's a bunch of major differences with the block and the head on a TT as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Would you consider doing it yourself, or someday?
Well, what's it called? I still got three more years to pay the car.
Okay.
So, I'm not gonna mod it while it's.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Doing payments, but if I would, because when I went into buying the car, I was the import market is keep increasing, so I know no matter what, I'm not gonna lose money on the car.
Right.
Especially at the price I bought it at.
Yeah.
So if at the end of when I pay off the car, I decide to mod it, the ultimate goal would to be find a wrecked TT.
Yeah.
And transfer everything over.
That'd be dream come true.
Yeah, but I guess something interesting that I found, but a little controversial, is Zeke, Sikky, they make 240 parts.
No.
Well, yeah, they have a swap kit to put in the Chevy LS.
Oh God.
Yeah.
Would that actually be cheaper than putting in a twin turbo?
Well, it'd be
easier.
Easier, and then in the long run, probably less expensive. Because you start with 430 horse, you know.
Yeah, you don't have to mess with turbos or anything. You don't have to have reliability issues.
And then the T56 is
bulletproof.
Tranny is all plus all the aftermarket options you want.
Yeah.
Whereas that GetTrack 6-speed.
Yeah.
Behind the TT, there's if you break it, you're pretty much buying another one.
Oh yeah. That makes sense.
So I mean that sucks, right? You get rid of the whole purpose of having a Supra, but
yeah, Yeah, I don't know how I feel about that one, because I think it would probably be better to drive with the V8.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like people are gonna hate on you for sure because you just put a Chevy V8 in a JDM Legend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know, like, one argument I've read though is like, it's not like I'm molesting a TT. If I had a TT 6-speed and you put in that LS, then you would be like destroying that
That's
car.
true.
But because I have a hard top and it's an NA,
Yeah.
then it's like, you know, not really. Even if you had, like, even more so if you had an auto and NA, then that's
Oh
even
my
more
God,
easier.
yeah. I mean, that's just screaming for any kind of swap.
Yeah.
But, so are the target tops more desirable than the hard tops?
I think just for like the collectability, but
Got it.
if it's a driver car, it's like
You want the hard top.
It's because of the body. I guess the chassis flex is like ridiculous.
And it's probably heavier with the reinforcements, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, same thing with the NSX. Like the target top one is not the best track car.
Is yours hard top?
Mine's a hard top.
Oh,
They didn't make the Targas until '95.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But yeah, this is still a really cool car, man. Like, just from outside, I love the way it looks. Like, even though this one doesn't have the best paint and whatnot,
Yeah.
and it's on stock wheels, I just love that classic '90s look.
Yeah. This when I saw this, right, because it got traded in on my birthday. It was totally remember this because my birthday was a Monday when I bought this, June 23rd, and I remember seeing this guy out in customer parking like 2 or 3 times. I was like, man, is that a Supra? And then he kept coming back. Like, where's this guy keep coming back?
Yeah.
And he traded it in on my day off. So the next day I came, I was like, oh man, I guess this guy traded it in.
Oh, okay.
And like, I knew, like, the Supra for me is like, it's one of those cars like I thought I would never ever have. So it's never been like a dream car to obtain.
Yeah.
And so I was like, you know what? If I don't like take this opportunity,
You're not gonna get another one. Yeah.
it's like never gonna happen again. So
Yeah. I mean, that was the same case with me in the NSX. Like, I was not planning to get an NSX anytime soon. But then I just saw this one, and it was a great price. So I said, like, you know, now's the time, right? Because they're still appreciating, just like the Supras.
oh yeah, like you remember like back in like
Just stop here real quick.
yeah,
Keep going, though.
You know, back in like 08 when you could get an NSX for like 19, 18 grand.
Yeah.
And then now they've like tripled in price.
Not triple, but at least like at the low end, like 50%. Yeah.
But yeah, you used to get an NSX cheap for a supercar.
Yeah, I mean, those were a steal back then. Like, some people say it's like a better investment than gold right now.
Yeah.
Like, I bought mine. I'm pretty sure it's gone up at least. I mean, I could get at least 15% more than I paid for it. Like, if I tried to sell it right now.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I just wanted to stop because there's a straightaway.
Okay,
so
okay.
let's see how it goes.
Okay.
Ow.
Dude, don't even worry about it.
My bad. The lightweight flywheel is a little tricky. Needs more revs to get off the line. Let's see how it does. There we go. It pulls pretty well from 3,000 even. You definitely feel the weight. That's the first thing you feel, is that it has very dramatic body motions. When you turn the car into a corner, you can just feel the inside kind of lift up a little bit.
Yeah.
This kind of changed my mind about Supras after driving this one. I mean, not that I like Supras better or less than before, but in terms of like what I would want to have a Supra for is a little different now. Like, I definitely wouldn't turn into some like 1,000 horsepower like drag monster, but I don't think I would turn into a track car either. I would probably honestly just leave it stock and enjoy it as like a daily driver or like a weekend car, because it's just so comfortable.
When I bought this, I was planning a Vegas trip with my friends, and I was planning to fly, right? And I was like, man, I got a Supra. Why am I gonna fly?
Yeah. You
Yeah,
drove down there?
Yeah, so I've taken this to Vegas and back.
How's the reliability been for you?
Yeah, zero issues.
Rock solid, right?
Yeah, zero issues. When I bought it too.
This car has how many miles now? 411,000. Okay.
Yes.
So that's still relatively like low miles for a Supra, but
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of other cars would have started to have major issues by then.
Yeah.
But yeah, this car, even in NA form, deserves all the praise that it gets, definitely. Not as a performance car necessarily, but just as like a cool, collectible, reliable, easy to drive, well-designed car. I love the way this interior is laid out. Everything's kind of pointed towards the driver, much like the S2000. It almost looks like a bigger version of the S2000 interior. But if I get to drive a twin turbo someday, maybe like a lightly modified one with like some suspension works or something, like I mean, that could change my mind entirely, but until then, like, this is what I think of the Supra as, like a really nice GT car. So thanks again, Zeke, for letting me drive your car. That's like another thing crossed off my bucket list, to drive a Mark IV Supra. I mean, I gotta drive a twin turbo still, but this is like pretty up there for me. So, I mean, awesome car. I gave you my thoughts on it earlier. It's a great GT car. Personally, I would keep it stock. And just daily drive it and just look like a badass everywhere. Yeah, I've got a lot more content coming up. Next week, I'm going back to Laguna Seca with the NSX. And I'm also working on kind of a more major project that hopefully will come to fruition early 2016. So if you guys like my channel, please subscribe and leave me any feedback, comments, suggestions. And I'll see you guys next time.